Got a new bang. Hello, besties. Mic check. I have the full fit too. Like, I wish I could show y'all, but like I have the pants to match. Someone say they're space pants. Someone say, Nem, are you wearing space pants? And then finish it. Well, I'm making some food, so we're not gonna start immediately. We're just gonna hang out for a second. I'm also, do you guys like my ring? Do you guys like my ring? You guys like the ring? Look at the ring. Expensive, expensive ring. Jewelry, expensive ring. You like that ring? You think you want this? Do you want this ring? I know you guys are jealous. This ring is so beautiful. Very expensive. Very expensive. Like, watch out, guys. Do you know what it is? There's backstory to this ring. Something special about it. Can you guess? How did you know? Yeah, it's the top to my coffee creamer. But I was like, it looks like a nice ring. I can use it as an accessory. My mind. Hi, Mexi. Hi, Icy Hot. Hi, Liv. Hi, Asa. Hi, Marshy. Hi, Harley. Hi, Bunny Boy. Hi, Icy Hot again. Hi, Dylan. Hi, Mac. Welcome in, everybody. I thought that, but I wasn't gonna ask. Fuck, does it really look like that? I thought it was just like a fierce little ring. It's a nice accessory. I'm literally gonna keep it. I DGAF. I'll rhinestone it. I'm just waiting for my food to be done. Maybe we can start the game up and just like configure it while we're waiting. But yeah, do you like the look? I'm obsessed. Like, this is my favorite so far. Well, looks are just gonna keep getting better. Just saying. Thank you. I thought the scary background would be weird for this look, so I thought I'd match it. This shirt is from Forever 21, and it's actually, there's another sleeve, but I tucked it in. It goes off the shoulder, but there's another sleeve that starts like right here. But the character, she has this like asymmetry. And I have the flared pants and everything. I'm gonna do pictures, it's gonna be fierce. But let me see if I can start this game. Open volume mixer just in case. So it's Apex and Overwatch Day. So how's everybody enjoying that? Anybody playing? Anybody into that? Why did you do that? Just wait. Yeah, I think I'm in the same boat as you, Asa. I was gonna tweet it on the circle, but I thought I would keep my. Or was I silent or was I silenced? Why has Steam the last like couple of streams just like not opened up? Like it's not that serious, girl. Patiently waiting. Thank you for lurking, Monster Alien. Hi, Harley. I'm making hashies from yesterday, so I have something to on. Oh, I'm excited to see that, Bunny Boy. I'm gonna have to check it out tomorrow before I leave. So I have stream tonight, then post pics tomorrow, and then I leave for San Diego. And I honestly think, I'm gonna be honest, I think my first day in San Diego, I'm literally just gonna, like, check into my hotel and just take the day to myself. Like, I'm gonna, like, run the shower, I'm gonna go to the pool, I'm gonna get a drink at the bar downstairs. I'm just gonna, like, relax. Like, I'm not gonna go all out the first night. Like, I'm gonna have me time and recharge my social battery before the weekend. Because, like, I had to book a hotel room for myself because I'm going to be staying with Stream Queen Sapphire. You look so good. Thank you. Welcome in. Why did I say Sapphire? It's Sapphire. Sorry. Greetings from Spain. Hi, Spain. But I'm going to stay at this hotel by myself for the first night, and then the other nights I'm going to be staying with people. I hope Sapphire doesn't, like, get annoyed with my snoring, because I know I'm gonna snore because of my allergies. Do y'all snore? Do you guys do that? Do you get into that? Oh, I have an update. When I'm sick. I'm sick. Oh, we need to not do this. Oh, we need to not do this. We need to not do this. We need to not do this. Okay. I'm good. Hi, Colwitz. You were singing last night as a preview for this look. Your mind. So true. The national anthem. I'm a deep sleeper type of person. Does anyone know why Steam updates like 5 times a day? It's so annoying to me. I don't know either. I am like the worst in my sleep. Like I probably, it depends on like my health. Like if I'm really sick, like I will snore, sleepwalk, grind my teeth, drool, like all of it, which is terrible. But I think normally I'm pretty good. I think I just like snore a little. But my parents upstairs, like I can hear them snoring from down here. I'm like, Jesus. Is that like a deal breaker for you guys though? Like if your partner is like a snorer or like really loud or like talks in their sleep? I feel like that's like something petty to do. Like, oh my God, you talk in your sleep. Boot, bye next. Like, shut up. I would sleep with earbuds. True. Well, like I hate sleeping with no noise. So I remember the guy we trashed all the time here on the channel, the Scorpio ex-boyfriend. I remember he would sleep in the dark, no noise, no TV, no nothing, and I would have to sleep with earbuds, like my AirPods in, with like noises of like a fan or something. Like not even a fan, like he liked like dark room, no noise, no nothing. Like, are you a serial killer? I'm so sorry. That's just my opinion. I'm like, damn, how can you like fall asleep with like nothing? Nothing. I like when my partner has night terrors and tries to kill me. Funny you mentioned that. My cousin, when we were little, he had a night terror. And he was sleepwalking and he picked up a knife and chased us all around the house and almost killed all of us when he was little. So, definitely a traumatizing event, but you know. I do prefer to sleep entirely in the dark with no noise, but I can still sleep with noise. Fuck you. You're a serial killer. You're a serial killer. People that sleep with no noise in the complete darkness? You guys are serial killers. You're gonna murder someone. That is scary. Not even like white noise or a fan or rain. Rain noises? Nothing? You guys are crazy. Oh, you know what? I love to sleep with this. Here, I'm gonna play the noise. I have to get my food after I play this, though, so hold on. Oh, by the way, hi, Kay. This is what I sleep to. This is the noise I like to sleep to. Hold on. Either this. Or this one. This one puts me right to sleep. This one puts me right to sleep, guys. It puts me right to bed. Like, I'm about to fall asleep right now. Like, when you're driving in a car. Because I used to travel a lot. Like, I used to have to drive back and forth from Vermont. Like, my family used to have to drive back and forth a lot. So, that's probably why that puts me to sleep. Because it's like the noise of a car driving. Like, ambient car noises. There was this one time me and my friends were spending time at a birthday at a hotel and we watched horror movies after they started sleepwalking and it scared them so bad. Please. Hi, Roland. Hi, Mateanetta. If there's no noise, I always start imagining ringing and then I start thinking about... No, I literally start like thinking there's something in the room and then I'm like, uh-oh, like I'm gonna die. Hi, Oscar. I'm gonna go grab my food because my food's probably done. Just so I can have something to munch on because I usually don't eat during streams, but we're gonna play this. And then if we finish, I'll play some Dead by Daylight. But I'll be right back. And if you see my penis in these white pants, no, you didn't. Because, I'm not tucking for a stream. Sorry, y'all. Back again, giving you a dose of what's happening. Okay, hi. Is my window open? Okay, it is. I just want like a little bit of fresh air. I'm so happy this bang piece fits the color hair that I need because I was so worried it wasn't. And there's so, I almost just choked on the air. There's so many looks this year that I have to have a bang for. I gotta have a bang for my buck. How? Honestly, when I was single, I was really hard to sleep, so I took a big hit on my health. You could say my loneliness was killing me. That was good. The way I read that so, like, seriously. My loneliness is killing me. I must confess, I like pussy. Not Pussy Queen though. So sorry. Oh. Also, everybody, my code on G Fuel. Please get some G Fuel with my code if you can. Even just get like the cute little collector's cups. Nemesis at checkout. It's gonna be boosted for a majority of the Halloween season. So instead of 10%, you get 30%. And I'm gonna get that cute Dead by Daylight flavor, and we're gonna try it on stream. Would anyone like some hash browns? So fucking good. Okay, I'm like excited. I need ketchup. They gave me so many ketchup packets in the bag. I wish I could show you, but I threw it away. They gave me like maybe 30 ketchup packets. What's that? I've never heard of it. The game or the food? Hash browns? They're just potatoes, like fried potatoes. They're literally just like squashed tater tots. Oh, I know you love some fish dick, Maddie. Because you're a SpongeBob fan and Under the Sea. You getting that fish dick? Yeah, if you wanted to make hash browns, you could ideally just like squash tater tots. Sometimes I do this if I want to make at-home tater tots. I use a presser, like a meat presser. I squash them and then I put them in the oven. So like I cook them for like 10, then I squash them because they're squishy. then I put them back in the oven, and then I fry them, and then I put all the spices on it. It's good. I'm a good fucking cook, bitch. Okay, y'all, I'm eating this look up. Let's make some noise. Well, I'm not putting anything on the hash browns today because I can feel a canker forming. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. Let's not have a canker right now. But let's start. Do we want to start? This is about a 2 to 6 hour game. So, and we've actually played this game twice before. We've played this twice before on my channel. If you go back, it's in Bargain Bin Horror #2, and then the demo again in the Halloween of 13 streams of last year, I think. So we played this twice before, but this is the full game, so we're gonna play it. I'm not a stranger to Mr. Mortuary. I still haven't edited that episode. I found it the other day though, Maddie. I was like, oh, this is interesting. Bye, Icy Hot.
I'm so glad it's almost over. Congratulations, sweetie.
Thank you.
When I was born.
I'll never understand why you chose such a macabre field.
There's nothing disturbing about it. It's just that
I'm proud of you. I really am. You've come so far. So, you haven't told me what's next. Will you get a job where you are, or...?
They actually have everyone they need. But my old teacher, Mr. Delver, transferred me to his office to finalize my internship there.
Oh, well, that's good. I remember you mentioning him. Where's he located? Are you moving away from me?
Yeah.
No, I'm not moving. He's actually located around here. Riverfields.
Oh, Rebecca. I don't like that.
Grandma...
Even I've heard things about that place. I'd just be worried about you.
People make up stories. Death is a scary thing to a lot of people. And we try to explain things we don't understand, and we want comfort when we lose someone we love. I mean, no one's embalming any ghost bodies or whatever. It's fine.
All right. I'm sorry. But I wanted to give you this anyway. So, here.
Very defensive already. Like, calm down, girly.
I don't know if I want that.
Just take it, please. It should be yours anyway.
Crystal, thank you for the follow.
Thanks.
All right. Enough spooky stuff. I'm so proud of you. When is all this happening? When do you start?
I've actually been there for a few weeks now. My review is tomorrow.
Oh. It's in the game. I actually live near a fire station, so I was worried. I was like, what the? Nope, it's in the fucking title, Talos. Get your fucking references right. It's literally in the fucking title, you idiot man. You fucking idiot man. Sorry. Just teasing. Giggles. If the game is recently updated, it must have Halloween editions and decorations. Rebecca, one last thing I forgot to give you. Please grab the pencil from my desk and sign that. Thanks. Oh. Let's try that again with a hello. When the gaslighter gets gaslighted. How's that feel? Okay, I literally cut up my mouth with the hash browns. Like, oh my god. Hello, my good friend Talo Sassy. Oh, it wants me to pull out the
I
pencil.
can't use that here.
Oh, I remember that voice. I remember that. I can't use that here. Nothing's changed.
Rebecca, great, perfect timing. I just finished with Mr. Dalton here. Please wheel him back to cold storage.
How big is your
Bring
dick?
us Mrs. Page.
I mean, sorry, what? Kiana, thank you for the follow. Just moving a dead body, guys. No issue here. Let's put her in the oven. Oh, I was kidding. I think she's stuck. Guys, I fucked up. Guys, she's dead. Oh, we got it. We got her. Literally, it looks like the Club Penguin pizza oven. She's got huge fucking tits. Sorry. I want to be her so bad.
All right, I'm just finishing up something here. So why don't you grab the clipboard and start recording identifying marks. I'll get out of your
Thank
way
you so
when you're done
much
and let you hop
for
in here.
8 months of subscription. Love and appreciate you. Thanks, babe. Clipboard. The clipboard is used for forms and keeping track. What? Guys, I can't read that. Ah! What am I gonna do? Almost a baby. I'm baby. Record any marks. Enter markings into the computer. Okay. Let's inspect. Inspecting the body. Where is the body? Bitch, she's the body. No, she's body yaddy yaddy. Like, jealous. Is this okay to say? Like, she's dead. Is this insensitive? There's a mark right there on her backside. Feet. There's a marking on her feet. Ah! What just happened?
These old windows never stay latched.
I thought I tripped over something. Keep the window open. I would like some fresh air. Well, it's a video game, so true. True that. Why does her finger look like that? Sorry. Does that mean? Hi, Jay. Thank you. I'm Pop Diva Brittany inspecting and doing some... Is her neck okay? Guys, is her neck okay? Do you see this? Is she alright? Oh my. Is she alright? No, she's dead. Oh. Wait, she's dead? Wait, we're at a mortuary? What? Yes, from Fairly Odd Parents, you got it. eyes look very scary. Oh, do you think she has something in her hand? Like a secret key? Nope. I look at the chest. Like, I'm looking respectfully, of course. Well, there's something on her chest I need to mark down. Stop! Hello, Goose Games. I already inspected the body. I'm done. Head. Oh, shoulders. Head, shoulders, knees and toes, T's and toes. Well, she doesn't have anything wrong with her shoulder. She's fine. Let's try the other shoulder. Singular. Are we under the influence today? Because you say every time you talk to me, you're under the influence. It's fine. Like, I'm fine. You shut up. I thought he was hot, but now that you said Vince McMahon, I can't. Work done. Yeah, I'm stoned. Okay, great. Perfect. Well, she has a cut on her ankle. Is that an ankle or a kneecap? And we got this one. There's something on the right hand, hard to spot. Really now.
Great. Climb on in here and
Thank
put
you.
everything into the record system.
I think that's left hand.
Don't
Is
forget
it?
to take the printout to the front desk so Zoe can add it to the packet.
A
for the family.
loser.
After
Sorry.
that, we'll
She's
get
dead.
started.
I mean, she's a loser. She really did lose. She lost big because she's dead. Sorry, is that insensitive? You look like you're gonna slur me.
You'll die here.
What was that?
I didn't say anything. You all right?
Yeah.
What
I'm
was
fine.
that?
Sorry.
Can you speak up? You want to say that again? You want to say that again, bitch? He looks like he's gonna slur me. You're gonna die here. You're gonna die up there. I'm Katya. I don't know how to report it into the computer, so, do I have to use... I have to use my mouse, unfortunately. Hi, Anne. If I have any mods on duty, can I give a shout out to Anne? I know Talos might be here. Talos, do you know Anne? Do you guys know each other? Oh, I'm doing the wrong thing. No, I'm not. Who is Anne? Talos is GF. Oh wow, the API error. Oh wow. Who's Anne? I thought you guys knew each other. Perfect. Oh my Jesus, that was so loud. He is so ugly. Sorry, is that mean? Where's the printer? Oh. Follow the yellow brick road. Oh, well, maybe I should get the piece of paper. Oh, the printer's right here. How nice. We already know what happened to her. Like, I don't need to reread it. I'm so sorry. Wonder if there's any Easter eggs. Can we find the creepy guy early in the game? Is he hiding somewhere? Why does he look at me like that? You're weird. Old men are weird. Unless they give me money, then they're fine.
Time to embalm.
Some lip balm.
All right. I've set everything out so you can just go ahead and get started. I'll be monitoring. Everything's on your list there if you need it.
Thanks. I'm gonna shut this if you don't mind, actually. Holy shit, I can't read that. Can I get a zoom in button? Wire jaw shut.
I'm missing something.
Yeah, I'm aware of that, but should I turn the lights on? People are saying it's a really good horror game. Like, I mean, I would say it's probably one of the better ones in the last couple of years. There are some jump scares. Is there a zoom in button? There's a crouch. With needle injection and setting needles. So I'm gonna pick up the needles. Needle injector. And... Nope. Nope. Setting needles. Nope. Yes! This means we can teabag. How do I do it? I forgot how to do it already. Hey, you fucking loser. Wait a minute now. Oh. What am I doing? Let's say circle. What is the issue? I need to hammer it? What the? We're going that deep into her fucking... No, Maddie, you just lied to me. Maddie, what the fuck is wrong with you? Oops, I did it again is not what you want to hear in a mortuary, please. Hi, Miasma. Emo Bunny Girl, thank you for the follow. Oh. I didn't know I could move it. Oh. Oh my, what the? I'm so sorry. I don't know what's happening, but I'm gonna pretend I'm doing it correctly. Why are we snapping her neck? Are we also a chiropractor? Apparently. I don't think her neck is supposed to be like this. I think it's glitched.
There we go.
It's glitched. Her neck's not supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be straightforward. Well, if she wasn't dead before. She sure the fuck is now.
I'm missing something.
Straighten the neck out if you can. I can't. Because it's like in the phase of like helping her out, so I can't. Insert eye care. Eye caps. Eye caps. Eye cup. Maybe if we do it from this, okay, it doesn't matter. Insert the eye cups.
All right.
I'm sure she's doing lovely. Mix embalming fluids. Gotta get some fluids. Hey, Doc. He's so ugly. I'm sorry. No, I'm not a superstar. I'm a champion.
Sometimes we get chemicals that haven't been stored properly, and it can make them pop like that. Just keep doing your thing. I'll get it.
Are you gonna get it? Yeah, good one.
I can't hold anything else.
Girl! I would just like hold it all in my hands and then throw it in. Like IDGAF. Yummy wet noises. Are you gonna pick it up? You said you were gonna get it. Make an incision on the artery and the jugular. Scalpel? Yeah, I did. I was actually eating it before you came in. I got it right here. And then, I have my coffee right here. So thank you, babes. Thank you so much. Oh, yummy. Oh, yummy. Yummy, yummy, yum, yums. What do we need next? Use the forceps and the twoing. We're just making up words. In both veins to connect the embalming pump. The bayang. Hey. Did you see his eyes glowing? Alright, house music.
I'm missing something.
Oh! Oh! Yummy yum yums in my tum tum! Oh! Oh! Oh, wow. I want to drink that. New G Fuel flavor, right here. We're done. Hi. Let me remove the incision. I'm so sorry to leave you uncomfortable. Let me get that for you. In the way I'm literally like dissecting a body and I'm like, yummy hash browns. Bev, how you feeling? Where? You guys see that? Wait, did you guys actually see that? There was someone in the window. What? Looks around?
I'm missing something.
Oh, sorry. Fill the empty IV bag with cavity fluid, then use it to insert the trocar. Yummy. Well, here we go. Oh, that's the spot right there. Oh, yeah. Right there. Oh, we gotta get that. Oh, right there. Oh, get my good side. Is this how they do lipo?
There we go.
I keep checking around the room because I know jump scares are coming, but... Thank you for clipping that. I'm not crazy. Mix cleaners in the bathroom closet with the pain cleaner and then pour to the embalming pump. I'm just gonna take that because I feel like we need it. Is there no cleaner? Sir, do you have some cleaner? What if he was like, you're gonna die? I think it's probably this way. Would anyone like to make their presence known in the window now? I'll open them just for you to intrude. I'll be back. Oh, they're fully gonna be behind us when we turn around.
Can't hold anything else.
Why the fuck not, bitch? I was so scared for a second. That was a 10 out of 10.
I can't use that here.
Girl, please. I don't know why my bot doesn't do automated messages anymore. Like, I set it up and it's not working anymore. So it kind of makes me sad. The way the game froze for a second. Oh! Look in the mirror! Look in the mirror! Look in the mirror! Ah! Hey. Ew! Oh my god! god! That's so creepy. Hi. Sorry, I'm still getting used to the controls. Let's try. Oh. I don't trust this guy. I got my eyes on you, buddy. Apply moisturizer to the moisturizer? Girl! Get her. Oh my god, yes! Work done. Well, the game is glitched, so. How am I gonna do this if the game's glitched? No! Oh, wait. We're doing it. We're doing it. We're doing it. Oh.
Tell you what.
What?
Why don't you go ahead and head out? I'll take over from here.
Are you sure? I just got here.
Don't worry. You're doing great. I'll get the last of your paperwork sorted today and call you in for your first shift.
She was using way too much of that face scrub.
Go ahead. It's fine. I'll give you a call when we get someone in.
Okay. The achievement, my first body. I'm not sure that's an achievement to celebrate, but okay.
It was just really weird.
So some stuff fell over. That's not a big deal.
No, I know. It wasn't even my fault, but he sent me home right after that. I'm just really worried. He was supposed to finalize my stuff today.
And he said he would, right?
Yeah.
So that's a good thing.
Yeah, it just didn't feel like he meant it. Like he just said it to get me out of the building. Wait a sec, I have another call. Hello?
Hey, Rebecca. It's Raymond.
Oh, hi, Mr. Delver. Look, if I did anything wrong today, just...
No. I wanted to apologize. You've done a fantastic job. Just not feeling too well. That's actually why I'm calling. I know it's late, but we just got 3 new cadavers, and no one else can make it in right now.
No.
I was hoping you could come in and take care of them.
Well, yeah. Are you sure? I mean, of course.
Excellent. You're doing me a huge favor. I took care of the rest of your onboarding. We're all
That's
set.
not him calling.
And your new badges and your personal belongings.
Bitch, he's possessed.
That's great. Thank you. I'm on my way right now. I hope you feel better.
No,
Thanks again.
I'm eating.
See you tomorrow.
I won't
Bye.
be going.
Holy shit. That was him. He signed me on. He needs me to come in tonight.
See? I told you it was fine. Congratulations.
Thanks. I have to go. Like, right now. I'll talk to you later.
Like, right now.
Where are my keys?
In my butt. They're right there, girl. Be serious. thought that was a death note. I was like, what? Wait, what's that? That looks like French fries. Are these French fries? Literally. Oh. What did you call me? Oh, guys. Oh, are there actually Halloween decorations?
Guess I'll head to the back and get started.
Me playing this with my door open. Oh, it's an actual Halloween update? That's so cute! Oh, I didn't know it got a Halloween update. That's so cute. Thank you, devs.
Hi, Rebecca.
Mr. Delver, I need help. Someone's outside the mortuary.
Just try to stay calm. I know you're scared. I'll unlock the door in a moment.
What?
This is very sudden, but listen to me. We have to start right away. I'm sorry. I didn't know until it made itself known this morning that
What?
it was here, let alone bound to you. I had no way of knowing the possession had started.
What?
Look, this isn't funny. Stop.
You need to take this seriously. You need to act quickly.
This is insane. I'll just leave. I'll just fucking leave.
You can't leave, Rebecca. I can't allow that for you or for others. It's far too dangerous.
What?
What am I supposed to do then?
Most bodies I work with at night are fine, so we stay calm, okay? We embalm, file the paperwork, everything. Treat it like a normal day. Staying focused will help. I left some things for you on the desk. I'll call again when you get to the embalming room.
No, wait. Ugh, damn it. What the fuck? This is insane. Okay. This is so
Hey, Bunny.
stupid. Just some hazing for the new girl.
Thank you so much. I hope you enjoy the YouTube content. Thanks for
Play
following.
along and do your job.
Not him being like, okay, there is a possession and I called you into work because you're a flop. Where is that noise coming from? Enough. I also really need to shut my door because I'm freaked out. Not that I'm scared, but like I don't like hearing noises and my door is open. I'd rather my door be shut. Okay, we're good. Yeah, the tunes need to cease. They're creeping me out even more than I was creeped out. Definitely a little worried. I didn't know this game started off that strong. It's like, yeah, well, there's a possession happening. What?
I don't have my clipboard.
Where the fuck is the clipboard, bitch? Oh. So cute. I love the Halloween decorations. They're funny. What the? Let me in. Oh, we're not doing that. Wait, so what's in my inventory? Oh, hall key. Hey.
I'm fucking quitting tomorrow. I mean, who does something like this?
Oh, the Halloween decorations are so fucking cute. That's actually so cute.
All right, listen carefully.
Look, I'm sorry, but this entire thing is extremely unprofessional. If this is how you treat new hires, I don't think I can work for you. This isn't funny.
Rebecca, you don't have to believe me, but I hope you do before it's too late. The only way to save yourself is to banish the demon before you're too far gone. To do that, you will need to learn the demon's name, bind it to its chosen body, and burn it in the retort. Look, I know this is a lot to take in. I wish I could do more for you. I had years to learn what I know. You have hours. I've recorded a number of cassettes to instruct you, in the hope that having a physical object with a known message will help you stay grounded. I won't be calling again. You can't trust the phones. Anything can be manipulated. Listen to the tapes. Learn the demon's name. Burn the correct body. The most important thing in the room is in that cabinet. Open it up. Good luck, Rebecca. I'm sorry this had to happen.
This is insane. Whatever. Just be the professional one, grab a body, and get started.
The Night Shift Database. A computer program combining all my findings into one reference point. The database contains all the information on the process of expulsion, the tools used, and most importantly, all the markings of the known demonic names.
Oh, this game's gaggy.
If you ever forget what to do, replay these tapes or look it up in the database. The collection of demonic names is the most crucial piece to the puzzle. You will need this information. My ID card is in my personal belongings drawer. On the back is the passcode to access it. Use it.
Not my window looking like that window right there in real life, so I'm scared. Where's his okay.
At every moment, the demon is funneling its energy through you, weakening you, until you are unable to resist. Identifying a demonic entity is a delicate balance. The further you are from possession, the more time you have. The closer you are, the more the demon will make itself known.
I'm
Allowing
scared.
the information to guess its name and the body it's bound to. The only way I've found to tell how far along a possession is on your own is to scribble on a piece of paper. Don't think about it. Just scribble. Look carefully.
What?
If you notice anything strange, it's starting to take hold.
What is happening?
There's a notepad and a pencil on the desk in the front room. Checking from time to time can give an idea of how long you might have.
What the fuck?
Whatever. Just grab a body and get started.
Well, where's his ID? We need the ID, girlfriend. Not me hearing a knock. What was that? Girl, I'm shitting my fucking pants. This is actually scary. Why are there flakes in the room? Where's the ID thing? Guys, we need his ID. do I steak? You're sick. Okay. So we just start taking apart a body? Is that it? Oh, here's the clipboard.
At least I can keep track of things.
Retrieve the body from the cold storage. Bro, what body? Do I need the gurney? Should probably open the door. International superstar Brittany. You got it, babe. Hi, Dwarven. Oh, that's interesting.
Real building. Lock me in here. Scare the shit out of me.
So, which one do we think we should open first? Door number 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Which one, chat? Let's have a poll. Thank you, Star Child. 3, 2, 4. 4. No, door number 4. Door number 4. Oh, is this a gentleman? Do we get to see some cock? Sorry. Let's be serious, guys. This is a serious job we have to fulfill. I like this one, though. I'm hungry. Oh. Ew, why is he like smiling? Freak.
All right, let's check you out.
I'm gonna shut this. His name is Samuel Mayo. Mayo? Record any distinguished marks. Okay. I don't like this. He's gonna like jump at me. Ew! Well, look, I messed up his neck again. I don't know why I keep doing that.
Hello? Nope. New job.
Hold on. It's too quiet now. It might be loud for you guys, but it's
Getting out of
really...
here.
Girl, we have to figure out what's wrong with his body. Just write it down and we'll get over it. Yeah, it's a glitch. I can't fix it.
Screw this. I'm getting back to work. So stupid.
What are we supposed to do? Feet! No cuts on his feetsies. Nothing. He has like no cuts anywhere. Oh, there's a little poopy stain on his hand. How do I get the thing on his face?
There we go.
I didn't move his head. So no head. Girl, look, he's gonna like get up there. Look, he's gonna move. He was 25? Damn. That's actually kind of sad. I'm waiting for the white demon thing to jump scare me. Like, bitch, I am not new to this.
File the copy up front.
Okay. Well, we don't have a choice, so.
Time to embalm.
I gotta embalm his ass? Looks around. Wait, so where's the embalming shit? Oh, there's too much shit now. I liked when it was like little, like, convenience. I gotta do the wire jaw. I'll show you a wire jaw. I don't remember. Is it this? Setting needles. Perfect. I'm not looking up because I know the white demon can spawn there. Don't even try it. Hey, buddy. What the fuck was that? Did you hear that? What's the issue?
I can't use that here.
I thought that was my stomach. I guess I'm missing something. Don't I have the pieces? It's a needle injector and then a setting needle. Yeah, I have both pieces. Pull it up, right? Oh. 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 Oh, yummy. He's got good teeth. Well, he did have good teeth. I'm so sorry to the family.
There we go.
Ew. Freak. Where are the eye caps? I'm afraid I'm gonna turn around and his ass is gonna be standing up. Are these eye caps? Perfect. Hey, sir, I'm gonna put these in your eyes, if you don't mind.
All right.
It won't let me do anything. I'm stuck. Stop! What does that say? Regent? It's in the cabinet? In the old cabinet? Okay, so we need glue, meth, formaldehyde. We need meth. So sorry. Oh, I have to open it. It's not what I wanted. I'm not answering. Call again. Call another time. Should we answer it? I feel like if we answer it, it's a bad idea. There's 6 different endings, so we could get the bad ending. Not a good look for us if we did that. Mix embalmings in the pump. Can you please? Does it like not stop ringing? Oh, it stopped. We did it. Yeah, fuck you. What if it was like, answer the phone next time? Ah! Hey. Hey. Oh. Okay. Not very nice. Yeah, real mature, real funny. I don't understand, like, what... It's in the pump. We can shut it. Why won't it shut? What is Radiant? What does that mean? What is that? Who's Reagan? What cabinet? That one? Oh my.
To banish a demon to hell, it must be bound to its chosen body and burned. The 3 objects in this cabinet are your tools. First, the clay tablet in the center is called a mark. Placing the smaller pieces in the correct configuration will spell the demon's name. Second, the bottles on the top shelf are a special reagent that will react to the mark. Add a bottle to the embalming mixture during the process. When the mark is placed on the correct body with the reagent inside, it will force the demon to become bound to it. Pay attention to signs that you have chosen correctly. They can be obvious or extremely subtle. Once you are certain the demon is bound to its vessel, burn it. Finally, the pieces of paper on the right are called letting strips. It must inscribe the sigils of its name in our world to begin the evocation. You will need to uncover these sigils to use them. Hold a letting strip up while wandering the mortuary. If it begins to smolder and burn, you're close. When the paper combusts, the sigil has been revealed somewhere in that area. They can be anywhere, so look on walls, under objects, inside furniture, anywhere. The demon will inscribe its sigils over time to try and hide them, so check regularly. Once you uncover the sigils, use the night shift database to decide which demon you're dealing with, and use that knowledge to create the mark. The steps are simple. Add the reagent to the embalming mixture. Uncover the sigils. Build the mark and place it on the body. Then, when you're certain, burn it in the retort.
Okay, but like, yeah, literally going in one ear out the other. But like, it wants me to add the reagent to it, but I'm not sure this is the body. Like, how are we... Do we just do it to all the bodies and then we burn the correct one we think it is after we add the reagent? We only have 3. Oh, we have more than that. I cannot read the text. Like, I wish it was larger. Hello? Okay. I don't have the post-it note. It went away from my inventory. See, it's like not here, but we picked it up. Oh. What do I do to get it away? A sigil just spawned? What is happening? Work faster? What? I'm going as fast as I can! Some of us aren't good at video games. That's not what I wanted. Wait, is this a key? Oh. Wait, why can't I take them? I need a scalpel. I just need a scalpel. Where is the scalpels? Oh, they're in this drawer. Okay. Hi, Devil. Welcome in. Does the game mind? And then we need the trocar and the tubing. No. Or forceps and tubing? The fuck is a forcep? Okay, forcep and then tubing. Where's the tubing? What the fuck? Oh, I found it. Thanks. I'm good at this game. Not really. I'm probably gonna get killed by the demon, but it's fine.
I'm missing something.
Girl, it's right here. Hiding in the corner of the room. Hello? Are you done? I'm working here. Filled an empty IV reservoir with the cavity fluid. It's the reservoir bag. That's a moist. Perfect.
I'm missing something.
Oh, I need a trocar or this needle poker thing. And then we go.
I'm missing something.
We're literally not. Like, I literally see it says trocar, enter bag. Oh, gravity fluid. What the fuck is a gravity fluid? I'll show you some fluid. I won't actually. Please don't kill me. Hey, John. Welcome in. Oh, it's this. Perfect. Now we jab it into his fucking stomach. Cavity? Guys, I really can't read the text in this game. It's so small. That's what makes it worse too, because I'll get close to the screen and then it'll like jump scare me and I'm like, okay. House music. Silence. Mix cleaners in I don't want to go to the bathroom. I don't need to use the bathroom right now. Well, I have to go this way, so if you could please back it up a little bit. I'm gonna shut this, if you don't mind. Gonna moisturize your face, honey. Don't get crazy and like get up or anything. Just gonna moisturize.
All right.
Thanks. So what now? Return body to cold storage. All right. Time to go back, honey. So. I don't need to do that. There we go. So, like, what was the little hints that it was supposed to give me that this body is possessed? I just want to know. Maybe that it got up? Like... Joystick! Alright, let's put you back in. Alright, who's next? Let's do number 3. Everybody wanted number 3. Can you please? Ma'am. Okay. I can't move her. Come on. Get up. Oh. Well, there's no body in this one, so... Ooh. What's a letting strip? Where do you see a letting strip? Special piece of scripture, ability to reveal a demonic marking. When the marking is near the parchment, it will smolder and combust, bringing the marking into the material world to be found. What does this do, though? I don't understand. Like, what's the objective of this? Is this like sage? Oh. Well, hi. You wander around with it, it'll burn and explode. When a marking will show up, you add the marking you see to that round thing. Is there a light in here? Hello? Please. Oh. Well, clearly something's happening. Oh. Did anyone see what it was? I'm gonna get the body. Do you see the marking? I literally don't. It's on the wall or usually... Well, I'm not gonna be able to fucking see! Behind the door. Oh. I don't know what this is. Okay, well that's it, but I don't know what that means, but whatever. Who's knocking? We're not taking requests right now, please. I'm doing my job. This guy is scary looking. Like, was he burned alive? I'm scared. Okay, so I just do it all over again? Add it to the big circle. Someone can let me know at the end. Oh, we have to inspect his body. Well, this guy's fucked up. Like, he's got cuts and wounds all over him. Oh, that's his nipple. Sorry. Ew, my god. The scabs are skeeving me out. Do you mind? Did I get that one? There's one I'm missing. You saw a mark on his back? Where?
There we go.
Oh. This part's satisfying to me, I don't know why. All right. Is the game like actually paused in this screen? Like the possession will stop? Or possession, whatever. Because I have to pee. Like, are we safe right in this screen for people that have played this game? A lot of people, I guess, have played this game. Okay. I just really need to go to the bathroom. The caffeine's going through me. Did anything happen while I was gone? That'd be gaggy if it's something happened. Okay. I'm a little chilly, but it's okay. I don't know what it is. Like, it's literally, Massachusetts weather sucks. Like, I'm over it. I'm so done. Yeah, I barged in. Excuse me. But also, I look so good in a bang. I love this little bang. Ugh. I'm like so upset that I bought like sweaters and stuff for the con, and then it's like, all right, well, it's gonna be fucking 1,000 degrees. Well, I bought a sweater vest and then like a long sleeve shirt. I should be fine, but like, I don't know. I'm still debating on my outfits. I gotta pack them tomorrow. Okay, first step is the needle injection and the setting needles. I was thinking about wearing this look to the con, but I don't want to repeat. I don't know.
There we go.
It's like the pants are cute, but I'd have to tuck because I have a bulge. But like girl cock, supremacy. Insert eye caps. Eye caps are bottom shelf.
All right.
Oh, we're high. We have to do the fluid stuff. Oh, not this. Nope. I know something's coming that's gonna scare me. Like, I feel it coming. I feel it coming. What kind of donuts did you get? Scalpel. And then what are they called? They're forceps? And tubing. Scalpel, forceps, tubing. Scalpel. Scalpel! How's music? Scalpel. And then tubing. I think this is the tubing? Yep, see? Look at me go. Like, come on. Okay, please.
I'm missing something.
Girl, it's right there. Donuts are so slay. Apple cider donuts are the fucking best fucking donuts, bitch. IDGAF. We gotta make sure he's got no blood. Skinny! I know, literally, it's so loud. And remove the incision. Okay, I got you. I'll make sure you're patched right up, mister. Just don't get crazy now. I'm afraid every time the clipboard comes up, he's gonna like move behind. What was that? Empty IV bag. We're closed. Where's the empty IV bag? Okay. Top right shelf. Thank you. Thanks, Dr. Marshall. Like, I'm just... I'm doing as best I can. Why does this game mean, like, you have to do it faster? Like, I'm going as fast as I can. Oh. Yeah, the PhDs are written upside down. That's not suspicious. Who's knocking? Why can't I do anything? Oh. Can I get back to work? I'll just get in, it's okay.
What are you doing here?
Why am I in the bathroom? Hi, Curtis. Hi, Audrey. Oh. Well, we're closed. Whoever's here, get out! What if it wasn't the same body on the table? That'd be kind of gaggy. Anyways, back to doing my job. This is definitely an Among Us moment. That emote is officially 1 year old now. That was last year's 13 streams. The Drew Barrymore one.
There we go.
And that's tea, actually. Curtis, do I look pretty? Do I look gorgeous? Give me attention. I want attention from a very attractive gentleman. A gentleman that treats me right. Mix cleaners in the bathroom. What the fuck? Honestly, the scariest part is somebody possibly being in here with us. Like, not even like a demon, but like somebody like trying to like rob us. I don't like that. That scares me. I agree. There's that horror game. You look beautiful. Like, really, you're killing it with these looks. Thank you, Curtis. I appreciate it. Thanks. Thank you. I appreciate it because I feel like I'm flopping. So, thank you. Oh, we have to do the moisturizer now. Moisturize the face.
All right.
I leave on Thursday morning, so I have a long travel day. I leave at 5 in the morning on Thursday, so today's my last stream before TwitchCon, and then I will be leaving Thursday morning at 5 a.m. to go to the... Okay, somebody wants a turn, so we're gonna go. That means she wants to get on the gurney next. At the gym this late? Hot. love you too, Curtis. This drag race mini challenge. But yeah, I leave at 5 a.m. Then I get on I'm gonna be at the airport for 4 hours because I'm just going early because my mom unfortunately has to do stuff that day. And then, and I don't mind being at the airport. I actually love the airport. But then I fly in, 6-hour flight, jet lag, and then I get there around like whatever, but then I'm gonna go get my badge, and then I'm literally taking the day off that Thursday. I'm not even gonna do anything crazy. I'm just like, I'm gonna like prep before the con, relax. I think that's only fair. There's only 2 bodies. We did her, okay. Everybody's saying we already did her, but we have to do her. Sorry, that sounds wrong. I don't think we did her yet. She's next. Oh, before we do that, we should do this thing. Really? I love airport. Well, Boston Logan Airport's a good one because it's an international airport, so it's pretty big and there's a lot of like shopping stuff to do, so. Hello? Does anyone see where it is? Oh. Well, someone take note of whatever shape that was. So someone said the first one was this one. Someone said top right or top left. What's the next one? Do you mind? And then click on the big circle? Oh. Neither did I. You guys, come on. You're supposed to be playing the video game with me. It looks like an L something. It's this one. Does it matter what, like, way it is? No, Marshall, I didn't move away too quickly. Just, you should be a man and be better. Just do better. Men should just do better always. Why are you blaming women? Oh, so you hate women. Okay. I, in fact, love women. For reference, why I hate airports, my closest airport is Kansas City Airport, which is terrible. True, I see that. Hey girl, look lovely. My phone lighting up, like jump scare.
There we go.
Not the grandma toesy woesies. She's gonna get up. What, like one of these times, one of them is gonna get up while I'm punching into the computer. I'm not kidding. Miss Gladys. Is that her name? Gladys? How old is she? 83, bitch? She looks good. Well, she looked good. She's dead. gonna try to do it without looking at the thing.
I'm missing something.
Oh, we have to do the thing in the eyes first. Nice teefies, Grandma. Is her name Gladys? This Gladys is giving. She got good ass teeth. Shut your mouth.
There we go.
Oh, we need the eye caps. Okay. I hear something in the hallway. I'm gonna ignore it.
All right.
We didn't do an incision. Oh, that's not yet. We have to do the dissect her. Alright, Carly. I don't want to dissect you, but we gotta. I'm doing my job, Miss Ma'am. I can do that too, bitch! Can you get back on the bed? Okay. Well, bye.
No! I'm not going! I hate you! Please, don't!
Interesting. Use code Nemesis at checkout for G Fuel. Anybody? Anybody? No one? Okay.
I miss you so much.
Somebody, get me out of here! They're gonna kill me! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it!
Girl, what's happening? You got a lot of trauma. Take once a day. Antidepressants. Yes, I wanted to try the Sonic one, but who was that? Hello? Oh wow.
Oh! That scared me!
You should have died when you had the chance!
That's a lot of emotion for save. Okay. Back to work. I think we might have found the possessed one. Well, the first one did this too. So I don't know. What are we missing? The Hummer thing? Is this it? Okay, perfect. Oh, and then we gotta get the thing back here. And then we get the tubes. Nope, come back to me. Perfect. And then scalpel. Already did it. My mind, so powerful. Who's cheering? Me. Cheering for myself. Because if you can't cheer for yourself, how the frick are you gonna
I'm missing
fuck
something.
some ass? I don't know.
I'm missing something.
Every time. All right, time to drain your body, Grandma. Don't get crazy now. Don't get mad at me. I don't want to do this. Energy drink. Literally, it's gonna be when I'm reading it, and it's gonna, like, when I'm looking at the screen closely. Turn the pump, remove the... Perfect. Hi, Hangry. Everybody follow. Why? I can't do that? Why not?
Rebecca, it's me. It's your grandma.
Fuck you, Grandma!
I need you to let me in, sweetie.
Oh, that door opened.
Don't you love your grandma?
No, bitch!
It's so cold out here. I'd love to come in.
I literally can't shut the door over there, too. Girl, I'm not falling for you! I'm not stupid!
Let me in, you little bitch!
Fuck you, bitch! You wanna talk? I'll open up the door. Let's fight, Grandma. Let's go. Let's go. You wanna fight, Grandma? I'll give you a fucking fight. Let me in, you little bitch. Oh, I'll show you a little bitch. That was actually funny. I like how that happened. Let me in, you little bitch. No, she gagged me. She actually gagged me. Okay, we need an empty IV bag. She kind of cleared. Grandma kind of ate us up. Xander, thank you so much for the follow. Yes, House Marin with like Brenda. I mean, I want them to add her to Dead by Daylight. I need a trocard and cavity fluid, so and put it in here. The grandma genuinely frightens me. Not, I don't really. I don't know. It's only really jump scares that scare me. I say that and I have nightmares every night that literally scare the shit out of me and I'm like, oh my god. I feel like that's different though. Because they feel like really real. But I play scary games all the time, so I'm like, I'm just putting myself into harm's way. Go to the bathroom. Yeah, I thought so. Grandma's gonna be over here. She's gonna be like, I got in and I'm gonna fucking kill you. Haha. I'm gonna be like, fuck you. Oh. Well, who said that? Something about Sweetie? Who's Sweetie? Don't call me that. I'm not your Sweetie. Hi, MSK. Welcome in. I was literally thinking of making that joke, Joy. Okay, we gotta apply moisturizer. I'm just gonna put some moisturizer on you. Just don't get crazy now. This is only to help you. She's gonna wake up.
All right.
All right, we gotta bring her back. I'm sure nothing will go wrong. We don't have any more bodies. I'm gonna do the wave the thingy. Why are you laughing, Grandma? Quit laughing, bitch.
Rebecca. Why aren't you coming?
What? Oh, here it is. What is that? Looks like a Z.
Rebecca.
Girl, shut up!
Rebecca.
I'll show you a Rebecca, bitch.
Why aren't you coming?
Girl, please. You don't scare me. You don't scare me. You guys literally don't scare me. Like, I literally DGAF. Good morning. Well, we are definitely approaching the possession. So I'm gonna try to find the last thing. Thank you, Laser Jesus. I appreciate it. It's like a flamingo shape. This was one of the looks I'm really excited for. And we have some great ones too. We got. So these are the 4. It was the other Z. This one. So how do you figure out like what happens here? Girl, shut up. Oh, interesting. Wait, we never saw any of those though. Oh my god, I never saw any of this. It might look one of those 3 icons. Oh, I forgot which one is it. Well, it has to be the grandma. Well, it's definitely not the second one we did. It's between the first and the third. So I think we can all agree on that at least. So it's the thing. So it's this one, right? It looks like the resolution one. Or am I crazy? Or desolation? Sorry. I literally can't read. It will be that one. I think so too, desolation. Okay. So what do we do with this information? Each of them belong to one of the 3 houses of service in the hall. The House of Sim. The demon's true name is composed of the 4 sigils of the bondage below. These are the 3 houses known as the covetous demons within them. So it's in desolation. Desolation. Oh, and it has the sigils. Got you. So we had a flamingo, a Z. True, Joy. Where's the House of Hall? A Mackie doll. Okay, well, I'm gonna look over here. I'm gonna take a picture of this. Taking a picture. And then we will look at what we... So we have a triangle. I think it's the second one. Nope, it's not. Triangle. Scrolling. None of them match. Did we maybe mess up? Oh, it changed. Oh, not what I wanted. It did look like that one though, like I'm not crazy. And then is that Z? Oh. I clicked the wrong one again? Z, flamingo. It's that one. It's that one right there. It's Azel. It's Azel. It's all 3. Hey! I said your name. You can't get crazy. Oh, you're mad that I got the riddle right, huh? Oh, you're mad. Oh, and you're upset and you're pressed. So what do we do with the name? Okay, so we need flamingo top, little bumpy bump bottom, chemical mixture to the right, and the Z on the left. Take a pic. Okay, you're right. You're right. I'm sorry. No. How do I take them out? But we have to arrange it. kind of goofy. I'll do this one then. The Z's in the right spot. This is it. We got it. What do we do with this now? We put it on the body, and then we burn it, right? We put it on the body we think it is, and then we put it in the fry later. We make a nice meal. Can you listen to the tape again?
You should have fucking died. I will slit your eyes open, and your last vision as they wither.
Okay, well that isn't what I wanted to hear.
Sealed from your legs, and all that will be left is eternal pain and darkness. You will beg me to take your pathetic carcass.
Oh, yes, if you notice anything strange, it's starting to take hold.
Jesus Christ.
To banish a demon to hell, it must be bound to its chosen body and burned. The three objects in this cabinet are your tools. First, the clay tablet in the center is called a mark. Placing the smaller pieces in the correct configuration will spell the demon's name.
Okay, is it Grandma? Do we think it's Grandma?
On the top shelf are a special reagent that will react to the mark. Add a bottle.
I'm going with Grandma.
During the process. When the mark is placed on the correct body with the reagent inside, it will force the demon to become bound to it. Pay attention to signs that you have chosen correctly. They can be obvious or extremely subtle. Once you are certain the demon is bound to its vessel, burn it. Finally, the pieces of paper on the right are called letting strips. It must inscribe the sigils of its name in our world to begin the evocation. You will need to uncover these sigils to use them.
Why is it not
Hold the letting
working?
strip up while wandering the mortuary. If it begins to smolder and burn, you're close. When the paper combusts, the sigil has been revealed somewhere in that area. They can be anywhere, so look on walls, under objects, inside furniture, anywhere. The demon will inscribe its sigils over time to find them, so check regularly. Once you uncover the sigils, use the night shift database to decide which demon.
Okay, Grandma, time to say night.
Use that knowledge to
Night, night,
the mark.
night, night, Grandma.
The steps are simple. Add the reagent to the embalming mixture. Uncover the sigils. Build the mark in place. Then, for certain,
Good night.
burn it in the retry.
I think we got the right body. Something tells me we got the right body.
Good morning. It's nice not to be the one down there for a change.
Raymond?
I suppose a first name basis is in order.
Did I make it? Is it over?
For now. It's never really over.
Excuse me?
You've come a long way. It's a lot to learn.
I'm so glad I'm here.
I know it's disorienting. You'll get used to it.
Get used to what? I'm not living this
Should head
lifestyle.
home and get some rest. Every night can be different.
Excuse?
I think I'm fine.
Are you sure? You seem out of it.
Oh, I've just been waiting for so long.
What? What are you? Oh no. You chose the wrong body.
No!
Rebecca.
Rebecca's not here, you fucking idiot!
Consume, worthless. Watch your foolish spoil
and drink it as it melts from your pitiful frame. Worthless old shit. Here I am.
She kind of gagged him. Damn, fuck. We chose the wrong body. You can burn more than one body? Damn! I can't believe I had a feeling it was the guy too. And I just went with the grandma because y'all said the foot was twitching. Damn. Hello? No, definitely a good game. I mean, there's 5 endings. Yeah, I am gonna blame chat. Fuck y'all. Just kidding. Damn. What is the replayability like? Is it like worth it to do it again? Like, are there different jump scares? Like, does it randomize every time? Like, what is it like if you redo it? Oh, you can continue? What is it? What's the difference between... There's new things from every playthrough? What if you get the same ending? I guess let's try again. Oh, it starts you here opposed to the tutorial. I like that. Let's see how different it is if we do it again. I don't want to go outside. Why would I go outside?
At least I can keep track of things.
Do I have to retrieve the tapes again? Does it matter? I guess it doesn't. Alright, I'm taking your word for it, everybody. I mean, let's see where this goes. Girl, please. The gameplay is actually really satisfying. Why do her feet look like that? Like, why are they a different color? What's that about?
There we go.
Her name's Lashana? Oh, I thought it was Lashana, like from Total Drama. Lashana's dead! Yeah, I hope it's different. I mean, there's different endings, but I hope, like, the stuff is, like, kind of... I mean, we have a different body now, so I guess that kind of means something. I guess when we get a phone call, we can pick up the phone. See what happens there. I also met the developer of this game. He was at, PAX West. He's very nice. Okay, I guess I'm just gonna go... I don't know really what I wanted to do, but... Oh no, the stuff is placed in different spots! Oh, fuck you, game! Oh, fuck you! Oh my god, I was so confident about the placements of the items. Oh my god, I'm so upset. When are we dissecting Lashana Ball? True. Never. What about Lashana Pyramid? Is the process different though? It can't be. Oh my god, there's shit over here too. Oh my god, I'm like so uncomfortable. I don't even know like where stuff is. Needle inject. I don't know where the needle injector is. I can't find it. I'm like so thrown for a loop. Oh, it's just right here. What the fuck? Can you stop?
There we go.
The eye caps, where were they? Can you believe people actually do this? What's that? Hey Caps, where are you?
All right.
Now we do this stuff. This. What do you use the bleaching agent for? We never use that. Did you guys just see her twitching? I don't think I saw her twitching, but I saw something.
That's not it.
What?
That's not it.
Yes, it is. Oh. Well, excuse the fuck out of me. I don't like that this is right near the window. Like, good placement, I guess. Formaldehyde? We need formaldehyde. Perfect. They need to move a lot if it's 100% that one. Gotcha. I also want to look at the report, like the website thing again. We need a trocar, and then we need the tube. The trocars. Tube is right here. Trocar. Here? Yes. You don't scare me.
I'm missing something.
No, you're not. Why did I just hear like a dog bark? Hello?
I'm missing something.
Hi, Curtis. Scared me more than... Anyways, back to work. What the fuck was that? Uh-huh. Right. Okay, reservoir bag. I'm pretty sure that's not how you pronounce that word, but I'm just gonna say reservoir. Isn't reservoir like a water thing? Is it? Reservoir, cat of trocar. Why does my character keep getting like high? Like I don't understand. Girl, we smoking on the job? That's not what I needed. Oh my god.
I can't use that here.
I don't know where this item is. I hate that the items moved. I was so comfortable. There's also some parts of this room I can't see. They're down here? Oh my god, please. Is this a C-section? No. I was a C-section, baby. No pun intended, because my name starts with C, but I was.
There we
That fat
go.
fucking head couldn't get out that puss. I just sliced my mom right open. Mom, I hope you're not watching. Must be a Pisces thing. Hello? Why'd the door shut behind me? Excuse me. I'm walking here. For these noises, I have no idea. Maybe they made them in-house? I don't know. They went to a real mortuary. That'd be scary. I should have asked that. No, not 12 hours. I feel so bad for your wife. I like that the moisturizers are right there, though.
All right.
Okay, it's not this body. This body is not doing anything that has any interest. Oh, we gotta find the ID to get in there. 200 subs. And I'll give birth. 7479. Yeah, I kind of want to. Ow, I just cracked my nail. I mean, my hand? I don't know. Is present a vessel it's occupying may have markings not previously observed. Inspecting a body additional times is important to spot these. Chloe, thank you for the follow. Okay, this is what I wanted to check out. So if it has more on it, then we will see. Watch. That's very loud.
All right. This working? Yeah. This thing is huge. So, I guess, this is David. Raymond, this feels insane, but I think you were right. This has happened a few times now, but let me see if I can get in here.
Beat pics.
There it is. Fuck. Fuck!
Interesting. Oh, hi, there's a guy right there. Hello. Hey, buddy, what's going on? I see you. Can you back the fuck up? Excuse me. Before we bring this body back, I say we do parchment. It looked like this thing again, did it not? Or am I crazy? I'm sorry I keep asking questions, but I like literally cannot see, so it's hard for me to find anything. You know, it'd be gaggy if while we were wheeling this body, like the hallway kept getting longer and longer. That'd be gaggy. Okay, it's not Miss Girl, so let's move on. Is this a clown? Oh, kill me. It's a fucking dead clown, dude. Oh, I hate it. Bro, what? A dead fucking clown? Ew! Ew, it's so ugly. You're so ugly, dude. Oh, is this part of the Halloween update? There's no way. Bro, he's smiling. Okay, wait, he's kind of, ooh. Can we inspect what's in there? Sorry. Give me that. It's got a pack-in, though. I don't want a piece. Ew, it's so scary. Ew, dude! Why do I think he's hot? I'm so... The bar is so low. It's so scary. Ew.
There we go.
That adds another level of scary to the game. That is so creepy. Wait, what? What's going on? Its name is Dorothy? I mean, go ahead, go off. I thought the victim's name from the first one was Dorothy. Alright, let's not get crazy with the clown jump scare, please. I said let's not get crazy. Needle injection goes first, so let's do that. Oh, the needle injector's this way. And then the needles. Yep. Perfect. All right, he's really smiling. Like, he's having a good fucking time. He loves it. He's got teeth just like me. Nice and shiny yellow. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know what they say, yellow teeth are the new white teeth. Where are the fucking eye caps again? I can't. I think they're over here. Yeah, they are. Shut this. Enough. Who has shiny, pearly white teeth anymore? Why? I want to do the body. What the? We've never done this before. Oh, what?
Mom.
You stupid bitch. Hate me all you want. He's dead because of you. You should be the one here. Lifeless. Worthless.
It's me.
Okay, moving on. Oh, do I have to put the eye caps in?
All right.
Still no other marks on the body from when we inspected it. Now we have to do the pumping of the stuff. This is my favorite part. I like to do the mixing. I like to be a mixologist, a barista. Making cocktails. Okay, girl, please. Who wants a cocktail? I'm making some in this thing. Glurt? What are we looking for? Glurt? What the fuck is that? Is this it? Perfect. Trocar and tubes. Trocar.
I'm missing something.
Who wants some clown juice? High safety. Rude ass. Wait, so does that mean I have to get another one? Or is it gonna be in the hall? Why did she push me like that? That was so nasty.
I'm missing something.
You're literally not.
I'm missing something.
You're literally not. Oh, I have to mix. Sorry. Oh. It's not the, I think it's gonna be the last body we do. This one isn't exhibiting any signs. We're just hallucinating.
Are you sure?
But that's it.
There we go.
Well, it's randomized. It doesn't matter what the body actually is. It's just a different model every time. I have to go to the bathroom. I'm gonna bring one of these again. I think we don't get.
I already have one of those.
What? So she did trick me, little bitch. Do I have to go outside to get this one?
Rebecca.
Oh, hey.
Yeah.
It's like an L. Okay. Well, I'm glad I did that because it's right here.
I already have one of those.
Oh! Do you mind? Can you turn the lights back on, girl? Thank you? I think? Well, yeah, I know it is more than just body movement. There's no new scars on the body from then when we first did it, and there's no twitching. Like, I'll try watching it, but I don't think I've seen it twitch yet. It's definitely the last one. While this is happening, I'm gonna get another thing. I don't know. Was it this one? Oh no, it's this one. Nothing. Nothing. Interesting. Moisturizer, and then we're done with this body. Do you have to wait to do those? Or can you do them at any time? That's weird that it's not letting me get the last one.
All right.
Or the second to last one. I feel like that's a good time to do it. I feel like I'm managing my time well. I don't know why it wouldn't let me do that. Hello? The door literally just shut on me. That's not nice. Girl, please. That'd be funny. Oh! Ooh, what's that? I can't see that. Can you guys tell me what that is? It looks like a swirly. Shut it. That's fine. Considering the thing was on this one, already suspicious of this guy. Excuse me. Welcome in. Happy to see you. It was a swirly Z, right? A swirly Z. Was it this one? I'm gonna just say it was this one. Okay, buddy. Let's see what you got for me. I'm ready for you to scare us. I'm ready. Like, I'm literally ready. Like, literally fight me. The game's going really good. I'm having a good time with it. The swirlier one. Okay, I'll go back and fix it in a second. Got nothing so far. But that could change, because... Oh, it's right here.
There we go.
This one? Boy, I am so good at this. My mind.
There we go.
Eat. Eye caps. I keep forgetting the fucking eye caps.
In here, Rebecca.
Yes, sir. I'll join you. Because I can't do my fucking job unless I follow you.
Rebecca.
What's the tea, sir? Alright.
So, little Raymond thinks he found a replacement.
Right.
Sacrifice to save his fucking skin.
Are you good? You guys look very nice. Okay. Is someone supposed to have a key in their mouth? Hi, angel cakes. What the fuck? There's someone really low to the ground over here. Hey, buddy. Oh, there we go. Thank you so much. Is that a clue? Oh, I'll go this way, sorry. Safety, please. That's what someone said earlier too. Everybody keeps saying it looks like Trixie. In the lights and close your eyes. Girl, not us outside. Anyways, can we get back to fucking work? Hiya, Chew. I know, I'm so excited. Well, kind of excited, a little bit stressed because my outfits, everybody's like talking about how slay their outfits are, and I'm like, I'm just gonna wear like comfy clothes and like have fun.
All right.
If I have a mod on duty, if you could give a shout out to Achu. I'm gonna meet Achu at TwitchCon. So many besties at TwitchCon. Okay, we need to do the mixy thing. Same, I'm really excited. I'm very excited. I'm totally taking Thursday to recharge my social battery. Like, I'm just gonna check into my hotel, probably get a drink and like relax. And then on Friday, I'm gonna be like, what's up, everybody? Hello? Okay, well, there's a jump scare. Where is it? There it is. Girl, what? You're doing too much. Could work. You better get to work, bitch. Brittany in the mortuary. You better work, bitch. You want a Bugatti? God has left you. He left me a long time ago, bestie. I'm so sorry. What's the tea, girlfriend? Okay. Moving on. Moving on. Miss, moving on. Yes, yogurt. I haven't had yogurt in so long. If they prank me with the body this time again, I swear. This is definitely the body. I don't see any new lacerations. And tubing. Tubing. Slay. And then we do a little schmoopy schmoop schmoop. Oh, we have to get Where is it? Where are the cutters? What are they called? Pliers? They're not called pliers. What the fuck are they called? Scalpel! Where the fuck are the scalpels? Oh, right here. Perfect.
I'm missing something.
I'm gonna drain him. What is the issue? I don't understand this, like, high thing. Like, why am I high? Why am I high? Just started. I'm doing this one a lot faster. There's no way I'm not. Also, where is that sigil? It like erupted while we were standing here. Where is it? Ooh, in here. Do you guys see it? Where is it? Also, what did Miss Rebecca do? Like... What's the lore here? Why is there so eerie music? I don't get it. What is happening? Stop. Where the fuck is this little sticky thingy? The stick and poke and the fucking ass. The titty poker. Where's the titty poker? I can't. Oh, they're down here. I forgot. I literally can't see that. Like, what do you want from me? Why is there eerie music? I didn't do anything.
There we go.
Can it? Well, it's not on the ceiling. What was the crouch button? Not in the cabinet. Oh, hi. Was that why there was eerie music? Oh, right here. Like a thingy. Cool. Go to the cleaner in the bathroom. I'm sure there'll be a jump scare. Let's inspect this. Oh no, I hit X. Oh wait, no, I saved it. Perfect. I think it's this one. We have a little thingy, a Z. Oh, it's the one on the left. Its name is Embalming. So it's the square. Yep, I have that one, that one, that one, and that one. So yeah, it's that one. So it's Balmet from the House of Hall. And then that's in the right spot, that's in the right spot. Perfect. Slay. Now we just need to ensure that it is this body, but there's no other markings and no twitching. None of them have twitched or had any markings on their body afterwards.
I can't hold anything else. I can't hold anything else.
Oh, do I have to put the mark back down? Whatever. Oh. Hi, I guess. Work, diva.
All right.
You saw hand movement? Let's inspect it for a second. It's gonna do the windmill. Turn me out! Turn me out! Staring at a dead twink's body. Oh, staring at a dead twink, a hobby. True. Well, maybe not dead, but, you know. Do you think because stuff started happening with the first body, it could be them? I think the character just hallucinates. Guys, I don't know. We're gonna pick the wrong body again. I, like, actually don't know. Should we pull out all the bodies and see if there's any lacerations on them? Is this one done? We can put it back. Yeah, let's put it back and then pull out the bodies and see if there's anything on them. I think we're losing time. Okay. Where's the light switch? Wait, why is she pulled out? We didn't pull her out. I think that's a sign. Hi, Mia. Yeah, we're playing the full release of this. We haven't played the full release before. Girl, be calm. Wait, we don't need to take her all the way back. Hold on. I don't know, guys. Why was her body taken out? It has to be her, right? Her body was literally taken out. We're losing time. Oh god, we're not gonna make it. know, guys. YOLO, I guess. I think we got the same ending. Fuck! Yeah, Brittany from Fairly Odd Parents. She's like a parody on actual Britney Spears.
There you are. Good.
Is it over?
I fucking got the bad ending again.
But you survived.
What do you mean? Can I leave? I want to go home.
You can leave. But once an entity finds you, all the houses of hell will do anything to get back to you. I'm sorry, but it doesn't end here. From now on, there is always a chance this will happen again.
Is it Safety's birthday?
Where you are.
I don't want this. I just want to leave. What do I do?
I'm sorry, but there's no going back. I've spent
Why do y'all
years
never tell
doing
me your
everything I can
birthdays?
to keep these entities.
Y'all just stay quiet in my chat.
It's the only thing we
Tell
can
me it's
do.
your fucking birthday so we can celebrate
So what,
you.
you're waging some selfless holy war.
It's not a war. It's survival. And I'd hardly call it selfless. We're caught at the front line of something larger.
We got a different
But I don't
ending.
do this for some greater good. We either face it or fall to it. I wish I could claim to be someone better, suffering hell to save us all. But I simply
Thanks,
want to
Mia.
live another day, just like everyone else. When I first experienced this,
I
had to make
thought
a
Safety's
choice.
birthday was
I could run
the day I
and spend
fly
the rest
out
of my days in fear,
to TwitchCon.
or I could learn to face it.
Because they were
keep
like,
some
oh, my
semblance
birthday's
of
the same
normal
week.
life.
I thought it was on the third. I thought it was this
Normal.
Thursday, not Tuesday.
Right.
But happy birthday,
It's
Safety. I
not a
love
life I
you.
would want for anyone. But
I lose
choosing
track of
between a life
days.
fear or control. You're the first person I've met to face this hell and survive.
This is a different ending, yeah.
So I'm offering you a different kind of job. Work the night shift. Learn what I know. Give yourself a chance at a life beyond fear. I don't know what you experienced, but I know it uses the worst parts of you against yourself. The more you experience, the more you'll confront the darkest parts of your life.
Girl, what do you mean? We
But
already
through it,
survived the night shift.
You'll become unbreakable. I'm offering the tools to take control.
Control of
Choice is
what?
yours. I hope you come back.
I'm possessed 1. I didn't get possessed. Was that the good ending? Now I'm interested to see the other endings. Like, I'm hooked. Like, I wanna do more bodies. Body. So, like, how would you get other endings? Like, I can only think of a good and bad ending. Like, how would you get another ending? You know what I'm saying? I know, I want to see if the new bodies have Halloween costumes like that last one. The clown, that was cute. Scary, but cute. The other ones are more complex. Why? I can't do all that. Can we just like do a new shift and like just like experience the bodies and see if there's like, let's just do it again. Why the fuck not? Let's just do it again. I want to answer the phone when it answers, or I want to like go to the demon anytime it interacts with us. Like I want to open the window like grandma wanted us to. I want to answer it. I want to be like, hey. Also, there's something in the apartment somebody said we have to do. The coins. Oh, true. Like a really bad ending that you don't burn the body. I didn't even think about that. I thought she was like cross-eyed. I was like, what's wrong with Grandma? I don't see any coins. Do y'all see coins? Am I crazy? Why is the microwave so low to the ground? Why is that so loud? Hello? Oh well, goodbye. Let's see if any of our new bodies have a quirky new costume. A giggles. Please. Oh, we don't even need the tape recorder. We can just go right in. Not everyone is tall, true. And I'm very tall. I'm very tall. Hee hee.
At least I can keep track of things.
I can't wait to be taller than everybody at the con. I'm gonna be tall person, haha. No one has a costume! Is that the guy from GTA? Can we reset? Oh, burn one right away. That's a good idea. Speedrun. You could just burn one right away, couldn't you?
At least I can keep track of things.
Lame! Let's burn one right away. Let's burn the ugly guy. It's the ugly guy. I know it. It's him. It's him, officer! What if we just burn all of the bodies? Wait. That could be kind of... Oh. Wait, I did it! I just got an achievement called Speedrun. Boom, and there it is. And that's how you clear. Bitch, she died.
Mr. Delver?
Ew. Oh, what a freak. What? That wasn't even an ending. That wasn't even an ending. I have an idea. What if we just go around, instead of doing the bodies, we find the demon's name and then we just burn a random body and hope we get it right? Because we have to put a mark on its stomach. So what if we just do that? We are doing all the different routes in this game. See, I like a game that's like paced good, but not too long, but has good gameplay. Like, this is good. They do a lot of good games. They did, I think they're the same developers that did My Friendly Neighbor. Neighborhood, sorry. Are there different bodies this time, I wonder? Body. Oh. Hello. Same guy as last time. Another clown. Interesting. We're burning the clown. IDGAF. Cremation bag. The ashes of a cremated body? What? So you can cremate all three? Huh, that's interesting. I think stuff starts happening when you do these sigil things. Hello? Where is it? Don't tell me it's outside, girl. Where the fuck is it? Hello? Are you guys seeing something I'm not?
I don't have my clipboard.
Okay, I have no idea. Because I feel like if you even go outside, like it's...
At least I can keep track of things.
You wouldn't be able to see it, it's too dark. Who's knocking? Who is it? Nothing, wow. I don't think you can stack the bodies on top of each other. Welcome back, House Music. Oh, this game hates us. Yeah, okay. I don't understand the news in the media right now about the Velma thing, because Velma's been a lesbian since 2010 in Mystery Incorporated when she had an on-screen relationship with Hot Dog Water. She had an e-girl. Like, her and Hot Dog Water were canonically gay in the old cartoon. Is there something they're doing differently? Like, I don't understand. I'm like, Velma's been canonically a lesbian for like 10 years now. No, I think the creator, like, said that they were gay together. Okay, well, fuck my drag. Why is it smiling? Let's see. Just staring at my phone. So true. Oh. Yeah, the character's name was Hot Dog Water. I don't know why. So nothing
Mr.
changes. I think that's all we're gonna do for this game, because I think I've done all I can without it being too complicated. Why do things gotta be so complicated? I'm not ending stream though. No. You are surely mistaken. Well, we did it. We beat the game. Haha! I beat it twice, actually. Good night, Lib. Hi, Grin. This is my last stream before TwitchCon, just letting y'all know. I'll be MIA until Monday. Probably after Monday too, because me and Mifa are gonna go to the zoo, I think, on Monday. But I fly red-eye into Tuesday, so I'm gonna be home like super late. I know Kara Couture wanted to go to the zoo. I think Cholora also wants to go to the zoo. I know a lot of like people that want to go, so I'm like, can we all go together so we're not like silly billies? Yeah, mine I think is at like 9 p.m. on Monday. So I'm just gonna like leave my stuff at the concierge and then go to the zoo. Check out on Monday. And then I'll go back to my hotel and then the airport, depending on what happens. I don't even want to think about how much Ubers are gonna be. Like, I just don't even want to think about it. But it's fine. I can't believe it's like literally in 2 days. Like, it really snuck up on me. I'm like, fuck. Like, my social battery's not ready. So, like I said before you came in, I'm like, I think I'm taking Thursday when I fly in to myself. I'm gonna like go to the bar at my hotel and drink and like go back to my hotel room and just relax by myself to recharge before everything happens. Like, I think I'm just gonna take that empty hotel room to myself. Let's play Overwatch 2. Can you imagine I just booted it up? Hey guys. You're sick. I know. It's crazy how quick everybody forgave Blizzard and just decided to hop on Overwatch 2 today. Isn't that crazy? Sorry. Like, not gonna lie, I think it's good to like check it out or whatever, but it's like everybody is like being weird about it. Thank you. I wanted them to match my lip. I know she wears a pink lip, so I was like, and then her whole outfit's white, so I was like, let me figure out how to incorporate some color in this. So I did this. And then this is a creamer cap. Love how you painted pink today, Nemesis. That was literally horrible. That era. I look back and I do look pink, but also like, everybody really thought I painted pink? Come on, guys.